All right, so let's talk about the Pythagorean identities in trigonometry. Everyone knows sine squared, well, not everyone, sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals 1. They know that, but a lot of times they don't realize why that is true. If you look at your unit circle, you can see why it's true. If I've got this right here, this is what kind of a triangle?
Right angle.
It's a right triangle. And what is this distance? What's this distance down here called? That's your x coordinate, right? Which is your what?
Wait, I'm trying to think. So
that's just your cosine. That's just your cosine, right? You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And what's this distance right here?
That's your opposite.
That's your sine,
Yeah.
right?
That's your tangent from the hypotenuse. Right?
And what's the distance right here? On a unit circle. Why is it called a unit circle? What's this distance right here? What's every distance?
Tangent.
That distance is 1. Every one of these, this is a circle, and what's the radius of that circle? What are all those distances? I'll give you a hint. It's called a unit circle. Why is it called a unit circle? Because all of these distances are 1 unit. 1 unit long. And what's Pythagorean's theorem say? That squared plus that squared equals
1 squared.
That squared. Okay, so that's where that comes from. I mean, it's not where it comes from, but it's a good way to remember it. Okay. Now the other ones that you want to find, you can derive those just from this. If I divide everything by sine squared of x, what am I going to get here when I divide sine squared x by sine squared x?
You're going to get 1.
1. What do I get when I divide cosine squared x by sine squared x?
That's like
cosine over sine is cotangent squared. And what's 1 divided by sine squared x?
What's 1 divided by sine squared x?
It's cosecant squared x. There's one of your properties.
Okay.
That property just comes directly from dividing. And what if I divide everything by cosine squared x?
Then, yeah,
what's sine divided by cosine? You get tangent squared x plus 1 equals secant squared x. So you don't have to memorize really anything but that one, and that one you really don't have to memorize either. But remember, each of these also can be rewritten. You can rewrite all of these just by adding or subtracting certain things. So this also can be written as sine squared x equals 1 minus cosine squared just by subtracting, or cosine squared x equals 1 minus sine squared x. This one could be rewritten as 1 equals cosecant squared x minus cotangent squared x, or it could be rewritten as cotangent squared x equals cosecant squared x minus 1, and this one can be written 2 ways as well. So they're your properties, your Pythagorean identities rather, and how you can derive all of them just from the basic one.